All right, hello everybody. Welcome to today's yoga practice. If you'd like to join me, you can come find yourself a comfortable seat on the floor. You can use a mat or not use a mat, but today I'm going to use a mat, and I haven't used a mat in a while, so this is relevant conversation. I have been speculating about it because for a while, I only knew yoga on the mat, and at one point I remember experiencing yoga off mat, doing yoga off mat, and that's the premise of yoga, really, is to harness your life force, and it doesn't have a finite experience within the mat and doing it maybe 20 minutes to an hour a day. Yoga is happening at every second. One of my favorite sutras is Now Begins Yoga 1.1. The sutra is basically expressing the thing I'm talking about in a very succinct way. Now begins yoga. Yoga is always happening in the now. And so, how else could it be? It's with your breath. Every breath you take is every move you make. It really fuels the whole process. So air, the idea of this sustaining element, really is what then connects us to the rest of them, right? We have fire, the rest of the elements. Fire is the process that is muscle engagement. It is regular, it is consistent, it helps in digestion of ideas, and it helps digestion of actual food, which is information to our bodies. So then we have the earth element, in there. We are of earth. Our form is in this place, deeply connected to water. Both fire and earth are deeply connected to water because of that notion of its structure existing. So earth, form, matter, steadfast, consistent. Really, we're talking about elements now today because they all exist and they have a relationship. They're expressing one another through their connections or places of connection, and that happens very simultaneously. So you get to speculate about it every now and again. Earth, and then we have water, motions, flow, downward and outward energy. All of them have a direction. So anyways, harnessing this on the mat becomes a little more of a level up. I've been doing off mat, and it's great. It's so fun. And you can do it to really engage with each material and surface you're on, grass, wet or not, uneven ground and carpet. But something different about the mat is that it gives you a better chance at bracing, more ability to do so. So it's like grip strength training. You really get to attach to the mat because of its texture and press away from that, and it holds you in place a little more. So you can really, and this is the first thing I do, press away. And the big one for me is my shoulder here. And that's also today's concept and notion and theme, is that we're talking a bit about injury prevention and rehabilitation. So things that you can do to bring the body back to alignment, and ways to have consistent practices. It's the idea of body management, but there's another phrase in there. So anyways, to be able to tend to the body before it gets injured. Hygiene, spinal hygiene is an example of the terms used, and you can have this health about your way of moving, and then this reflects into either healing from something you've injured or strengthening up so you don't have that experience in whatever case. So injury prevention is a big focus because I've also had injuries. So to move through our practice with a lot of mindfulness about alignment, because the idea of healing is you have to go into what is the place of healing, place where the environment and space in which it will occur because you've brought yourself there, and being inside this environment is what allows your body to heal. So alignment in your body, in the same sense, is what is going to provide your body better circulation, flow, support, the whole thing. It's all geared to be a certain design. And when we're out of that, and we're, you know, bent out of shape, kinked, what are the words? Pick one. Something out of alignment, imbalanced, not distributing your weight evenly. That's when injuries can occur, either chronic or in the moment. So like you've a buildup of body pattern, body movement pattern, and then eventually your muscles not being in their natural aligned state begin to compensate and then try and pick you up, and then because of that you're more likely to an injury if you have been moved wrong too quickly or impacted in any sort of way. Your body's already tweaking out of shape and it needs to like experience opening to be able to get to that point. And sometimes it's pain that gets us there, and sometimes that's in, you know, like I said, an acute situation, or sometimes that's long term. So whatever it takes to get there, to bring yourself to tend to your body, you know, whether it's just realizing it's a good idea in the first place. Why not? This thing likes tending to, being tended to. So how can you do that? And then otherwise the idea is that you just find the practice of tending or nurturing or healing through the need and the necessity because of an experience. You know, it could have been something that happened pretty quickly, or it could have happened over a long period of time, but nonetheless to work into a healed version of self through starting wherever that is, and for whatever reason. And so yeah, today we're starting here with this lovely mat. And if you're with me so far, I hope you found a comfortable seat and you're breathing and you're open to this part of practice. There is something to say about being seated on the floor and how to get down to that point and get back up. And beyond that, staying seated on the floor for a longer period of time, I, for a while as well, with healing part of my injury, which we'll get to maybe, is that I only could really just sit and stand because my current condition was compromised and there was intervention to take place. This is so in depth. Long story short, right? Then the positions I could take to also allow healing to occur after the intervention, it was necessary, and also the thing that would help healing the most, because of so much stimulation and need to go into its place of alignment and find itself, and it was painful to go out of it. So I could sit and I could stand. This is related to this area I'm pointing to, my neck, and I have areas my back, and as well a lot of emotional factors to have put my body into a sense of response. And so training your body to come out of that, sometimes you have to sit in a bit of stillness through basic poses with foundation that will allow unpacking and unfolding the weight, the tension, the stress, the pain, whatever it is, whatever's going on in your body, you can move through it. And sometimes that movement takes place with a really sturdy base, like sitting on the floor with Mama Earth below you, and finding your breath and dropping the weight of your lower body down and your upper body up and up and up. And that is a continual process as you breathe. There is a connection to channels of the body that flow currents of energy. And so yes, here we are seated, and there's options you could start with, and I have for the longest time, and I probably will pull a blanket out, use a cushion or a blanket folded. So you can fold a blanket, or you can find a cushion, you can fold a cushion, you can find something to prop your hips on. You're sitting yourself on your seat on a blanket, cushion, prop, to lift the hips up and allow the knees to draw down. And this is a good place for people who have difficulty already even getting close to this angle. So we're working on opening this angle up, and as well relieving compression in the lower back, opening the chest and dropping the shoulders back. There's this whole process that starts from where we're seated, so opportunities to assist yourself are recommended. You can go higher and higher and higher, and this will simply allow the weight of your knees to drop, your legs open. So you can support yourself from behind as well. Sitting forward on the prop is helpful, or from the prop. There are a lot of options. You can be on a chair as well, which has its benefits. So firstly, finding a seat on the floor to really begin the next parts of awareness, stacking of awareness, to stack your centers. And every time I come into practice, there's opportunity to find the gratitude for it, the practice itself, and the ability to practice in whatever space I can. And it's what grounds this whole thing, because some days, I tell ya, you don't want to be here. Some days there's so much else calling to you, and so many things that are more priority, and the last thing you want to do is spend time sitting on the floor. You feel like you're not doing anything, or like I said, there's better things you could be doing or more important, so they say. So finding a time to sit on the floor and really connect prior to finding some movement. And just to give a note, part of my intention is to find the ability to convey not only informed movement, but to teach you guys, whoever's listening, all my yogis out there, teach you guys what's necessary, so you can do it yourself. So it takes a while to really get there, and encouragement from yourself, and hopefully from whoever's guiding you, to keep going. And yeah, so with information and having all of the ideas of what you need to do at stages, you know, learning as you go, and then realizing that you can build on that every time. You can then do it yourself at any time, with more spontaneity and more of your own conscious and subconscious engagement. You'll find what feels good and what moves you, so you'll be able to direct yourself. And learning how to do so is a beautiful skill that you could go to a yoga teacher training for. And I would recommend it even if you don't want to teach yoga. It would teach you how to teach yourself, and that's most important. And as I learned it, I was like, I'm going to teach, and then didn't, and then have just really found a grand sense of appreciation and gratitude for whatever pulled me into that. And there's so much more wisdom I can tap into, because my body does communicate our bodies communicate on a subtle level, and we begin to take time to listen to those subtleties. So as you've been sitting on the floor with me and finding a prop and really getting yourself in there and grounding, feeling excitement maybe for your future devotions, because you know that's what's necessary, to devote to you. All right, I can invite the next process of sitting in this lesson is we're gonna bring hands behind us, fingers facing towards your toes. Just bring them behind, bending the elbows. So bend elbows, draw your shoulders up, around, and back, and then draw your arms a little longer, a little straighter without locking your elbows. Long belly. Open neck and deep breaths. You can press into your hands a bit and continue to expand the direction of shoulders down, away from ears, and ears away from shoulders. All right, come back up in a seated position, a little centered. We're gonna be sitting a while, as well as we're gonna be on our wrists in the near future. So as you are seated now, you can take this opportunity to take a cheek in your left hand and a cheek in your right hand, and just spread your cheeks spread your cheeks a little bit, and get your sits bones a little more rooted, a little more in touch with your foundation, that which is touching the earth, and connecting to the feet in this moment as well. So whatever can be touching, I hope your feet can touch the ground. Maybe you're in a chair, so hopefully your feet can touch the ground. And if they can, you can press your feet downwards, spread your toes a bit, and as well find lift from the lowest part of your spine. So both anchor points can bring you out of your pelvis and finding length in your spine as you continue to breathe deeply in this position. Breath coming in through the nose, down into the belly, the diaphragm, and your belly gets bigger. And as you exhale, navel draws the spine, air comes up and out, and tension rolls off your shoulders, down your back, down your glutes, and out through your feet. And you can find a little bit of connection. You can wiggle a bit. You can shake downwards. You can find that outward and downward force within your body, which is usually the lower body and the back body. And continuing here, breathe deeply. Putting your hands on your knees can help expand the front body up and laterally. Continue to enjoy the cycling of breath and widen your collarbones with each inhale as well. As you breathe and find the spaces in which your breath travel within your container, I'll invite you to place a hand on your lowest part of your belly, below your belly button. And as you exhale, just press into your belly. Just slightly, not a lot, just slightly, with gravity mostly. Your belly does a lot for you. We've talked about what the idea of digestion is, only briefly. And so it'll come back in conversation. It is also the season to recognize this part of our system as well through Virgo. Virgo rules the intestines and the central nervous system, is the notion of purity and organic way of being. It's about nourishment and as well praise of the feminine, Mother Nature and her produce, what she grows. And the idea of growth is through Virgo as well, day by day dedication and devotion to life itself, our relationship with it. And it's a whole lot of beauty because that is what we're doing. We're taking the time to digest, maybe. We're taking the time for ourselves to process, to rediscover and recalibrate what we can do in a day. how much we can utilize time, I guess, and our energy to tend to our soil, to cultivate. And that's the beauty of certain practices, and yoga being one of my primary ones. You really can pack it by unpacking, by not doing things, you're doing things. There's a whole lot of movement that takes place, and even sitting on the floor seems like a simple thing. You can really spend time learning yourself and evolving, and this is communicated as well through this practice. As pure as it is, it's loving your body, it's being thankful for your body, and that prior to any yoga practice is essential. Just recognizing this has been passed down, this idea of our body too, it's a part of our practice. We're living every day, and we got given this idea of life. It is an absolute gift, and we can look at it that way, and it'll remind us why it is that, why we can appreciate what that is, and it appreciates us for appreciating it. What is that relationship? How are we also getting healthy and well by recognizing our need? And so, yeah, the ability to do so has been brought to us through the practice of yoga, as people have grown in this practice themselves and have recognized its impact and its magic. Thus, our own experiences call us to do this practice in the forms that it comes to us, by making the time, taking the space, and creating the space as healing as it can be, full of the things that you need and less of the things you don't. And yes, as well, this space specifically, let's all take a deep breath in this moment to land in the awareness of the earth that is holding us now and always. And release through your exhale, through what the body experiences as exhale. And as deep as that goes, allow yourself to reside there, and then take a deep breath in once more. Open, expand through every cell of your being, lift tall through your crown, and exhale, drawing your navel to your spine, and let your hands fall on your knees. Your next breath in brings you back to a lovely place of neutral and center. And you've just done a whole lot of yoga. If that's all you have time for, I thank you for being here. If you have a little more time with me, we're going to do a little more yoga. My next breath in, let's uncross our legs if they're crossed, or extend our legs out anyways. And with our prop, lifting our hips up and the weight of our legs drawing our lower body down and our upper body up. We're going to take the time here and breathe deeply. As always, take your time and breathe deeply. That's all we're really doing, is taking time and breathing deeply. So, as simple as that sounds, it's a complex process. So let's take the time and breathe deeply and shed some light on some hidden places. I'm just extending our legs before we come back into a seated position with our legs crossed. If you've been watching the video and I haven't been directing you, I'm Hoping you're taking opportunities as they come as well to move in our seat and experience what calls us into what places. So in a seated position with your legs crossed and our feet in front of one another, we'll come into some movement. So, shall we Om together? We shall. Let's take a deep breath in, then out to clear, and one breath in to bring us into Om. So in, out, and deep breath in. Let's do twice more. Deep breath in. One more. Wonderful. With your hands on your knees, take a deep breath in, open your chest, draw your shoulder blades back into place. Exhale to curve in your spine, let your shoulders come forward, draw your navel in, deep exhale, tuck your chin. Next inhale, slide your chest open and forward, lean forward, draw your shoulders back. Exhale, round your back, draw your navel in the spine. Keep the breath going. Let it be what opens and closes you. Expand is a better word. Expand and contract. Every cell of your being. Take time being empty and full. Let the breath get all the way there and all the way out. All right, one more big exhale. As you inhale, come back to center. All right. Take your hands in front of you onto your mat. Breath in lifts you up from your seat. And you can move your prop with your feet. I usually do. Check that it's off. And walk back, hands and knees, until I'm centered on my mat. You can take a second to sort yourself out. We're going into tabletop. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, feet flat, down, anchoring through the earth. Anchoring through the earth is a beautiful mantra. Anchoring through our vibration with her form of vibration. Anyways, so take this time to find that place of center for you. You lean forward and back on your hands and knees just to locate where even weight distribution is. You want to feel the channel of transitions for you in and out of balance center, and then you can feel how to come back into that from this position. So hands, they're placed firmly downwards and fingers spread evenly. Really pay close attention to the fingers and thumbs. And as we're taking some time, come off and on the wrists, because this is maybe your first times doing yoga and you want to be able to get into your wrists with patience and softness. Because if you haven't done much yoga, bending at the wrists like this with added weight does, require a bit of preparation sometimes. Anyways, we're going to prepare just a little bit. And this isn't to say, if your wrists are tight or weak, they're not going to get there. This is your process to getting there. So I'm just getting you ready as well to find how to do it right. So you want to discover a good connection as well as range of motion from it. This is the idea. And if we can move in directions, we can take movements in those directions, which will add range of expression. We'll increase our range of expression, literally. Our body's form of expression and our conductivity. Anyways, there's so much I could say. But let's just focus on our own little journey here. The idea that we are a conduit for our energy centers is why coming into a certain position will allow us to conduct energy better. Anyways, so from this lovely form of tabletop, which will come into a neutral place, find that center and press very firmly away from your mat to lift out of your palms and lift your upper and front body up to meet your back body. We can extend our spine down through our tail and out through our crown, growing and taking up space and supporting our spine. And as we go through this is going to be an essential pose, and we'll come back to it often. It is always something you can come into. You can always move back into tabletop and child's pose, lean your hips back. We're going slow today, which is lovely, so we're going to move into some cat-cows. From tabletop, we can curl our toes under and take a deep breath in, drop the belly, open your chest, open your throat, and soft gaze. Full breath, full expansion. And as we exhale, untuck the toes, press into your shins, draw your navel into spine, and let your head get heavy. Inhale leads you back. Open chest, tuck your toes, press into your foundation, and exhale to opposite. Contract, press your feet, shins, palms. Inhale to find the opening, your opening. Exhale, and now find your own pace as well. As you breathe in and out, feel some degree of movement. You can lean and rock back. Move a little to the side. Just find a little bit of freedom as you work on expanding, cycling your energy so you can find all of the growth and release. Take your breath in, growth, worthy of growth. Exhale, release, shed. And we want to encourage now, stoke that. process. Marvelous. So if you've been on your wrists for a long time now, let's walk back onto our thighs. Slowly sit up onto your heels. You can curl your toes under and grab your feet for a little bit of attention. We want to give feet more attention. This is a thing. For real. We want to give our feet way much more attention. So we're just on them now to stretch them out a little bit and find a little bit of buoyancy from our seat, not dump all of our weight all the way back. Just find a little bit of bounce, which will get us in and out of the stretch for the feet, for our feet, our lovely feet. Okay. From here, breathe in and come off of your heels and shine your hips forward. We're standing on our knees, toes curled under, and you can lean back as you open the pelvis, open your pelvis up a bit more. Finding your hands on your hip creases, the lines where your hips bend, and breathing deeply here. Guaranteed good time. As you breathe in, open the chest and lift the spine up, and as you breathe out, find weight in the lower body. Bring your hands behind you to your where your back dimples would be, or just above your buttocks. Gotta see buttocks at least once in a video. Maybe twice. All right, so as we are in this position, finding the lean back, don't have to push it too far, just a little bit of lean back. The further step is to draw the shoulders back and endeavor to reach our feet behind us. Oh man, I needed this one. Been roofing, building a roof, helping do some roof work, and been lifting a lot. And then here we are, stretching that muscle. So yeah, if you've reached back, this is camel pose. It's also quite on the extensive side, so I haven't cued it very deeply. It was more just opportunity if you are an experienced yogi, just to lean into it a little bit. Let the head get heavy slowly as you are supporting it through the extension of your spine. And slowly exhale and bend your elbows and come out of it. Back onto your knees, sit back on your feet. That one is a bit more on the extreme end of back bend, and usually I'll start a yoga class with that, but that's kind of what I needed and where I was going. So we've gotten to this position to be like a practice. Little baby back bend supported with your hands behind you. And if you could, rotate the shoulders back so they're in place and reach back for your feet, your ankles, and then draw your arms long, opening the shoulders and stretching through your hands and feet. It's like an ultimate experience. And it wasn't easy. Exhale to come out, slowly lower. Wasn't easy to get there. You can come into cat-cow if you're ready to come off your knees. Do a few rotations. If you can follow the circle of your hips, you can move with that. Inhale to open the chest. Exhale to contract. Exhale. Oh, and inhale at your own pace. Oh my gosh. Anyways, just keep finding a little bit of movement. All right, guys? All right. From here, we'll bring our toes together, knees wide, left hand in the center of our mat. And as you inhale to draw your right arm up your left, expand your chest, drop to your right shoulder, feel the weight of your arms journey, drop backwards in socket from out of socket and reach up through your hand. Take a second here and breathe deeply. If you need, you can bring your hand to your hips and find where you can stabilize them in neutral. And our twist is only happening from the upper torso, and the extension through our hand is what's pulling the channel, pulling energy to release. We can wiggle your fingers and rotate your wrist a little. Find some connection to the channel from your top of your head out to your pinky, and slowly lower down your arm towards the mat and thread through. Lay your right shoulder on your mat. Draw your hips back towards your seat, and you can wiggle around in here for a bit, just a little bit of movement as you feel. Next, inhale, draw your self back up from your palm, and we're going to come back all the way up again. So deep breath in, open the chest, send your hips back a little as you extend through your palm. As you exhale, deep dive, draw energy up, centered spine, lower your shoulder on the mat. Really embrace this shoulder stretch. As you inhale, come back to center, switch palms, other palm in the center. Take a second to find neutral for your spine, center and straight. As you inhale to do so, press your palm into your mat, draw energy up and away from your ground, and draw your arm all the way up to your left shoulder, and then extend to the ceiling sky. Ceiling or sky. Well, what is this girl? Ceiling sky? Does she know what she's talking about? She just said ceiling sky. Well, either way, enjoy looking up and finding an opening in your chest. As you exhale, thread through and draw your shoulder down to your mat. Long spine. You can sit back a bit. All right. Press into your palm. Draw your center back up and inhale to do one more extension to the sky. And as you endeavor downwards, find a deep exhale. Do we do this again? Oh, maybe I want to do it again. Find a deep exhale and come on down. If we do two on one side, let's do two on the other. Those are the rules. Okay, one more on the other side, if you wish. All right. Let's move into tabletop, and as I decide what I want to do, wow, usually I just carry on. No, yeah, we'll just keep going with the decisions as they come. Do I know what I'm doing? So, let's see how long. Wait, that's the idea. Oh, it's already been 45 minutes. Oh, if you've been with me this long, marvelous. Let's wrap it up, shall we? Because I actually think I have to pee. So, finishing it up, let's come into wide-legged forward fold. You can use your prop. To sit on. So with your prop and you being on it at the edge of the front, you can take your glutes and spread your cheeks left and right. Take a glute in each hand, and as you arrive in this seated position, just wiggle your feet. You can't see it in the video, like such, left and right with bent knees. So depending on where you're at in your yoga journey, this might be way up here, you might be like this still, trying to get yourself into extended legs at whatever pace. This is just a journey, right? So you get towards this direction, and there's ways to get there, and we're utilizing those tools to go those ways. And so yeah, a bit of wiggle is great. You can take your hands to your legs and give them attention, and maybe give them a squeeze, which will definitely do something. And wiggling your feet around is also helpful. So we're in this wide-legged seated position, breathing deeply, taking our time. So as we enjoy this process to this extent, with a next inhale, you can bring your arms up over your head and find a little bit of sway left, right, bit of connection to our center in the front and the back. Where are we tethering from, and where can we find movement from? How slow can we go to connect to the very beginning of this sway? And this will give us a nice bilateral experience, leaning into each leg. So our hands are overhead, or they can come back down, but the idea is to find where the beginning is and shift from that place. So anyways, we're here, and we're wiggling around, and we're gonna work ourselves to get a little bit closer to the earth. So if we can lean one way and come forward, a little bit of sway to one side, sway to the other, so we can slowly discover the land we roam and how to roam it. You know, staying in one place will get us somewhere or nowhere fast. I used to joke that yoga is like going nowhere really fast, but you actually are getting somewhere. So going nowhere fast because you're in one spot, but you're going. I feel like you can run a marathon on a yoga mat. So anyways, as you can, slowly encourage your upper torso to reach the ground, knees bent. So give us plenty of space for us to hang out. If we can get a little bit closer, even just get heavy, so that we can not hold ourselves up and feel supported in the places that are holding us. So our upper torso is not holding us up right now. So you can relax and lean into the earth. She's there, she's holding us. You want to stretch the inner thighs, so moving left and right helps us do one at a time. And then if we can do both, we can just reach forward with our hands. They can pull us just a little bit, and that wiggle really helps. Bring your hands to your ankles or feet. Breathe deeply. Slowly unfurl from the bottom of your spine up into a seated position, nice and stacked. Head over heart, heart over pelvis. And at this point, let us come to a close. Just a little bit of process here. Bring your knees into your chest from your seated position. Hands on the floor for beginner level to lift your knees to about 90 degrees. And if you can lift your hands off the mat, and balance that way. It's a nice core activating experience. Breathe here. And we can use it as a transition to slowly and mindfully move back into seated. And your prop with you, your heart with you, your gut, your pelvis with you, and your focal point up here, roof of your mouth, your voice, your container of communication. It's with you. So we're communicating, we're learning, we're digesting, we're being informed. All of the things happening. So thank you for mindfully moving with me and spending time with yourself, tuning in to where you're at and where you want to be and where you've come from. Yeah. Maybe that's just me. But there's lots that happens on the mat, so if I were to summarize, I'd just say yoga. Come do yoga. In a seated position, let's close with a chant of 3 ohms for the recognition that we are sound, that all is birthed from the idea, and there is the idea of silence as well to meet us after our chant. So let's take a deep breath in and out to cleanse, and in to end on Om. First out. Deep breath in. Cleansing breath out. And inhale to Om. Your chin to your chest, hands to your heart, and bow. Bow to the teacher in you and the light within. The light within me recognizes and reveres the light in you. Thank you so much. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And as always, mad love.